Welcome to the Reach Podcast Show with LeVar Ellis. We appreciate everybody tuning in. As you know, we are here each and every Thursday from 10:30 to noon. And today, as you can see with the flyer up, we have a special guest talking about business and personal finances, my man, Mr. Tracy TANN. So we definitely want to join in and come into the camera and say what's up to everybody. I guess that'll be the main thing that we'll do. And we appreciate everybody tuning in and week out, checking out the Reach Podcast Show. We thank you. So if you're on Facebook, if you're over here on Instagram, or if you're watching us on YouTube, we thank you guys for tuning in. We can promise you'll take home some nuggets, and hopefully they can be beneficial to you in some shape, form, or fashion. But it is the Reach Podcast Show, and I am LeVar Ellis, like I said, the founder and the host of the show. And every week we try to bring you some new stories from the community. You know, we are sharing the stories of the community and those people driving those stories. And we'll get into more about how I met this young man and what he's bringing forth to us today. But we want to start the show as I do every week, basically thanking those people who have contributed to the show and have been part of the show. And that's how we're going to start off today as well. So again, Happy New Year. We appreciate everybody for all your contributions and all the things that you've done with and for the Reach Podcast Show. And those are people that I really call show sponsors. So we'll start off giving a shout out to those people. Big shouts out to Dad Chronicles, which is my nonprofit organization. And this show is actually designed to become the voice of Dad Chronicles. So definitely want to put that up and let you guys know we are doing some major things this year, and everything is obviously powered by Dad Chronicles because it's a community outreach type of organization, but we are doing a lot of different things. So stay connected with the Reach Podcast Show, stay connected with Dad Chronicles, and you'll be in tune for the amazing things that we have going on. So definitely a big shout out to Dad Chronicles. Also, big shout out to WBP Radio. And that is We Break Purpose Radio. This is a online music platform that we'd love for you to download and get it on your phone and actually give them a review after you've listened to it for a minute. It's positive hip hop and also some Christian music tapped into there, but I promise you, you'll never know that that's what you're listening to. So if you see this logo, you definitely want to go to the Apple Store, the Play Store, whatever you need to do, download We Break Purpose Radio and listen to the positive hip hop that they have flowing on that radio station. And big shout out to my man Tibbs for organizing all the things that that radio station has been doing and is looking forward to do coming down here in the city. You know, I stand with you on that. Another company, I definitely like to give a huge shout out to my boys over at the Black Store. As y'all know, man, week in and week out, give a huge shout out to my boys Randy and Lloyd for all the amazing things that they're doing in the community right in Sunnyside. They have jumped into the beauty supply business, but they're also doing a lot of stuff with the community. So I just want to say big shouts out to y'all. And as y'all know, I want to play a quick video in case this is your very first time tuning in. We definitely want you to get a good idea of what their store looks like and the things that they're doing in the community. So we'll go into that video and then we'll be right back.
If you haven't been to the Black Store Beauty Supply Experience, this is a personal invitation to come experience the best customer service.
It's not playing. How I do that? Let's see. One more time.
If you haven't been to the Black Store Beauty Supply Experience, this is a personal invitation to come experience the best customer service at a beauty supply store. Bringing you all the beauty brands that you know and love, but most importantly, we support more than 70 local Black-owned brands in the state of Texas and Louisiana. Like having access to a Black-owned pop-up shop 7 days a week. For the ladies who love to pamper themselves, please come experience our nail salon and spa. For the fellas, y'all can look forward to a barbershop coming soon. We'll have our own personal man cave back here. And for those who have a thing for agriculture, we definitely want you to come visit our backyard where you can find our community garden. Thanks for tuning in to the Reach Podcast Show with LeVar Ellis. Y'all enjoy this great content.
So man, on this side, not sure if that played very well, but you can definitely go and check out the Black Store, either in person, 8616 Cullen, or go on Instagram, Facebook, and check out the things that they have going on. But it is the Black Store, and let them know when you walk in the doors that the Reach Podcast Show sent you. And we appreciate you guys for connected with one of our business and community partners. Another company I like to definitely shout out is the World Youth Foundation. And we just had a strategic meeting for the beginning of the year. This organization is revamping and rebuilding, I guess I would say. But big shouts out to this organization being around for 32 years, coming this April. And I am also part of the executive lead team for a thing that we call YIP, Youth Innovative Incubator Program, where we meet every second Saturday of the month, and we're sharing some awesome things with the kids and giving them opportunities to be part of workshops that are really like STEM-based workshops where they get to experience things that they might not otherwise experience. And this coming February, we have an amazing event that's already set up. We're kicked off. We're ready to go. I'm like all excited about it, right? And then for those who follow me, it's also my man's Landon's 8th birthday. So we're going to have a great, great, great time. And also one of our other students will be celebrating their birthday as well. So go to the YIP Instagram, YIP365, and tap in with us. Click on the link in the bio and get your kid registered while you can. The registration fills up fast, and you don't want to miss out on this opportunity for your kid between the ages of 8 and 18. Those are the kids that we'll be hosting February 12th, second Saturday of the month. So big shout out to the World Youth Foundation and for giving me an opportunity and other people like myself the opportunity to come in and join and also get community service under your belt, because there's a lot that we're doing with that organization. And proud to say that Chronicles is now partnering with the World Youth Foundation on a bunch of different levels. So definitely want to give a shout out to them for the things that they're doing, and salute to the whole WYF family. So again, I'd like to take this time to move forward in the show and want to introduce this young man. We, speaking of World Youth, we were out for MLK Day, on MLK Day last month, and we were downtown. For those who may have seen the post or knows how it goes here in Houston, that's a huge, huge, huge day here in the city, and we were down in front of City Hall, and they had the festival after the parade. So, the whole point is getting out there, mingling, networking, socializing, and this young man was definitely doing that. And as he passed by our table, we talked a little bit. He told us about what he was doing. Big shouts out to Dex. He may be watching or may see this later. He's the guy that has the book out there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, we appreciate the connections that were made that day. I told him we keep in touch. And so here we are today. And he wants to share some things that he's doing. And I'll let him tell that story in a minute. But introduce yourself, man. Say what's up to the audience, man. We got people on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook.
What's up, folks? First of all, I want to thank you, LeVar, for letting me come on the show.
Absolutely.
Being able to speak my piece is definitely an opportunity. My name is TJ TANN, 22-year-old young man from West Philadelphia. So West Philly born and raised.
Yeah. Philly in the building.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'm new to Houston. Moved out here a couple weeks ago. Went to explore the city. And like you mentioned, I was just out MLK Day parade. Heard it was a big event in the
place
city.
To be.
It really was a place to be. And got to meet a lot of different folks. And just a blessing to be able to be plugged in right now.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And so I know you coined it down to what we're talking about today. And I know you said the different points. So let the people know, what is our main topics that we're going to cover today and from your knowledge?
So the main topic that we're going to cover today is money basics. So I write on a platform called Medium. And Medium, you can Google search it or search it. It's a platform for writers to kind of write about what they're passionate about, what ideas they want to spread.
Mm-hmm.
And then also a little bit about entrepreneurship. I'm a co-founder of a recent tech startup based out of Richmond, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And so for all my folks that, maybe in college, maybe in high school, Black folks that are interested in these topics, definitely want to kind of give a message that is, both culturally relevant and fiscally relevant.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna hit you with what they say I'm trying to stun you if I can.
Okay.
I meant to call you actually, and just to let you know, like with my show, I don't like to pre-script much. Like I was telling you, certain things that we're definitely going to cover, but I like everything to be organic. So this is about to be organic.
Okay.
But I did want to forewarn you because it's such a wide range, and give you an opportunity if there was somebody you didn't know right offhand, give you a chance to think about it. So I apologize for that. But this being February and being Black History Month, who stands out to you, and who would you like to just briefly speak on? But who do you think about? When you think about Black history, and it doesn't have to be like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, somebody from way back in the day. I just did a tribute, and shouts out to everybody. If you haven't seen my post on my personal page and on the Reach Podcast show page, if you have been on my show here recently, big shouts out to my man Dex again. He put together an amazing video, and man, when I was watching it, I was like, man, I have talked to some people. Like, it's a big deal, and so they were my Black history people. Now you're part of that group. So again, who do you think about when you think about Black history?
He's kind of in the shadows a little bit of history. But one of the folks that I think mostly about, and I'll give you two people. Okay. The first being Whitney Young. Okay. He served. He was in the civil rights movement, but more on the business side. Gotcha. Right. He was a guy brokering deals in a lot of corporate back rooms and a lot of city hall back rooms to bring jobs and economic opportunity to folks in the South.
Right. Well, they say he was doing it with his head down.
Exactly. Right. He was doing it quietly. He wasn't a guy out, on the front lines or anything. He wasn't really written a lot about in history. Yeah. But he was the guy brokering a lot of deals.
Say that name again, because I'm not even familiar with the name.
Whitney Young.
Whitney Young. Okay.
Whitney Young. Okay. If you look at the, I forgot the name of the council, but it was MLK, Ralph Abernathy, Whitney Young, John Lewis. All of these folks came together as a coalition for different aspects, right? Martin Luther King brought the religious aspect and just the popularity. Right. John Lewis brought the student population. Whitney Young brought a business community and economic empowerment to that equation.
Collaborated.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's one thing that I think about. Okay. And I try to think of in that lane. Yeah. And then the other is I think it's not written a lot either is Fannie Lou Gamer. Okay. If you know Fannie Lou Gamer, she was a outspoken activist from Mississippi. Yes. And she got the opportunity. She worked as a sharecropper in the field, her and her family, but she kind of rose through the political ranks to speak at the '68 Democratic National Convention. Right. Where she gave a deafening speech on just what it's like to be Black during then, and a lot of that resonates now. Right. And so Fannie Lou Gamer is one of the most organic leaders I've ever read about and learned about, and somebody who I think is a little overlooked, right? Because it's not as glitz and glamorous.
A lot of people overlook.
Yeah. A lot of people overlook. Not as glitz and glamorous. She, isn't like a necessarily on the Mount Rushmore of the Black freedom movement, but definitely somebody I would mention.
That's what's up. Well, you knocked it out the park, man.
I think that was okay.
Yeah. And also that's another thing I like to do is talk about people we don't hear about a lot. So with those two folks, that definitely for anybody who's watching gives you an opportunity to look them up again, or look them up and read more about them and just expand your knowledge on as far as Black history. And say the two names again.
Whitney Young.
Whitney Young.
Spelled how it sounded, and Fannie Lou Gamer.
Fannie Lou Gamer, absolutely. So, man, it's TRACY TANN's bit on Black History Month, man. That is what's up. And so it leads me to think about my show next week. And so we want everybody to come back next week. I am going to be live on location again. And I'd love for you to come, man. If you're free, just be a guest with me next week. But we'll be interviewing Miss Priscilla T. Graham. I'm sorry, Priscilla T. Graham. And she's a community activist. She's definitely a historian. And we'll be over at Freedmanstown of Houston. And it's a historical location where all they do is preserve Black culture, and so we're going to get a lot of Black history next week. So a friend of mine introduced me to her last week at another event on other day when I got the call. I was like, man, absolutely, I'm gonna be there. There's another networking type deal.
Oh yeah.
So I met a bunch of amazing people over there. Shouts out to my man Bruce Almighty, who's a poet, and it's this. To give just a little bit of background, this month is a 1-year anniversary of me incorporating poetry into the show.
Okay, that's big.
And so the people that I reached out to this week, they didn't have the space or the capacity to be on the show. Mm-hmm. But what we do, and we're going to do that starting next week, is we give a bit on Black history through poetry. And so I invite 3 poets to come on the show. One person opens up, another person does the middle segment, and then somebody ends it. Mm-hmm. And it's all based on Black history. And that was an idea that I had last year. So actually, if anybody's watching that's a poet and you want to jump on today, go ahead, hit me up. I'll shoot you a link real quick live while we're here. And you can definitely spit a piece on Black history. So this whole month is the 1-year culmination of what's been going on. There's been a lot that has developed over this past year from that. So yeah, absolutely grateful for it. Because there's so many aspects of Black history coming to life out of what we've been doing, as all together. So again, man, y'all tune into us next week. You definitely want to catch that show, and if you're available, I'll hit you up and we can figure out how to get you over to Freemanstown, which is not far from here, but it's I think something else that'll be good for the things that you're doing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Absolutely. So let's get into you. This young man, see, this is an amazing thing. I love to see our young people doing things, right? And so I want to put up your company logo and tell us a little bit about this company.
Yeah, so name is RELAI. We're a hyper-local delivery service. And so the tagline is that we try to provide within an hour delivery for everything besides food. So you can think of all non-food products, but sourced directly from local and mid-sized businesses. And so what we're trying to build is an ecosystem, a platform that highlights and elevates local and mid-sized businesses without having to sacrifice the convenience of a 1 to 2 day delivery.
Okay.
So you think of, what's it called, the black store that you put up? So a store like that, right? You walk out of here, you might want some hair care products, or you might be going out, right? You can wait 1 to 2 days to get it from Target, Walmart, what have you. But we're trying to make it possible that you can just order straight from that store and get that product as soon as you're on the way out the door.
Right.
So what that does is give shoppers and consumers a more diversified option, right? Because most of what we shop for anyway is already nearby us.
Right.
Right. And then also for those businesses, that gives them a leg up to say, hey, we have a new logistics arm to kind of provide fast and flexible delivery.
A little bit more flexibility, yeah.
And you house it in one platform, and can kind of grow as we grow.
So let's back up a few steps. So like I said, I love to tell the story, and there's always a story, even though you're young, man, you're only 22. So what led you to doing RELAI, and you're a co-founder, so obviously there's another person that's going into it. So tell us a little bit about what you were doing before RELAI was real, and what led y'all to come up with this idea.
Yeah, so it's 3 of us, and my co-founders, Miles, Martin, and Dylan Spin, went to college together. They went to track together.
Okay.
So that's where the name RELAI came from.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha. I was gonna ask that later. You just took care of that.
Yeah, and so I met Miles.
Let's go up because I forget about Instagram. I want to make sure they see you on there too.
I met Miles at a program I was doing in Washington, D.C. It was specifically designed for young, with the program deemed as high achieving Black men. So it was about 20 to 25 of us living and working in D.C., networking, going to a lot of events together. I met Miles there. That's where I met the idea, and we just worked on it all summer and decided, like, hey, this can be a possibility, so let's keep working on it. And so that was 2019.
Okay.
2019, and I was still in college. I was a rising junior at the time.
Gotcha.
And so that's kind of where it all happened, and then we kind of stuck with it ever since.
Okay. And so, I guess, is there one of y'all who had the original idea?
Dylan had the original
idea.
Okay. And it was birthed out of but it was hot and he didn't want to go get it.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, why can't it come to me? Because it's right there, 45 minutes away.
Something I always hear is that you're one thought away from $1 million idea.
It only takes one time.
This morning. Yeah.
It only takes one time. And, and even beyond that, it's just a joy of trying to create something.
Right.
You know that with the things that you build and the things that you're doing, it's just a certain type of just satisfaction that comes with it. Even a small progress. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So what does it take for you guys, and I know some stuff is private, but as far as to get this idea going, it's tech, it's, the brains behind it and all the work that, because that's definitely in-depth thing when it comes to the tech side of it. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It required, like I mentioned, like we started when I was writing junior. I'm not a graduate from college, so it was just a long time just studying, learning not only about technology but about local commerce, about how do you configure all of these parts together, and what it takes is basically that research on the part of us, as well as just like just dog days of trying to figure out. We've been lucky to work with some technology partners that has helped us build out the platform. But most of it is learning as much as possible. Once you start something and end something, you come to that culmination. It's like you learn so much that you don't even know what you don't know.
Right.
But that's what it has taken. And right now, we got to a point where we are raising money for the startup, and so that even an investment strategy is a lot. It's a lot of cold emails, calls, meetings, booking,
diligence.
And a lot of rejection.
Right. Absolutely. Speak on that a little bit, because I know we're going to talk about business and personal finance, but the idea of the rejections, people feel like that's not something you're going to get. They're supposed to get the yes, but in reality, you should expect a lot of those.
That's what I was exactly going to say. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like you have to like reorient your mind to almost look for rejection, right? And look for why people reject you,
right?
Because it gets to a certain point where it's like it is discouraging, it's disappointing to like repeatedly hear no. I wouldn't lie to you and tell you what it is. But if you can get to a point where you can see through those no's, to be like, hey, you don't want to be a part of this why, right? And if you talk to 100 different people and 50 of them give you the same why, then that's something that you need to work on, that you need to change, right? And so there's value in being rejected. It sounds weird to say, but
it's a learning lesson.
It's a learning lesson.
And I think it's more of, like you just said, if people are telling you why, and then you find out that a lot of people are telling you the same why, then that gives you an opportunity and something to go on and come back with a solution.
Exactly.
For those very people, be a solution to the problem. And, find out what people want. That's the main thing. You got to be a good listener.
Yeah. Listening is an art.
Yes.
You can get lost in, you want these people to accept your ideas, yourself, this and the third. But if you can kind of see beyond that, then you can kind of change and adapt as you go. It'll be better for it.
Okay. So before we dive in too deep, you're in school. You say you already graduated.
I graduated in May of 21.
Okay. Congratulations. Number one on that, man. You're a fresh graduate. Give us a little bit about your school resume and what you've been doing in college. Like, what did you graduate with and all of that?
Yeah, I went to the University of Richmond
in
Richmond, Virginia. Was fortunate enough to get into the school. Spent 4 years, man. I made some really amazing friends. I think one of the things that you come out of college with, aside from like a degree, is if you're lucky and blessed enough, is a strong network.
Right.
And I definitely feel like I came out of school with that.
That's good.
But while I was there, let's see, I started a logistics company, and so that one was super simple. It was trying to make the move out and moving experience.
You said super simple.
Yeah,
super simple.
It was simple. It was simple, but it was difficult.
Yeah,
right. It wasn't like a grand idea. It was like people need help moving boxes out of their room because like they just hate So
I'm one of those people, man. It's not a simple idea. I hate packing. I hate moving.
All of that. So I spent 3 years and got to 3 campuses across Virginia before I let that go.
Okay.
And that was a fun time. It was hard.
You were exploring.
Yeah. It was fun. Also, I co-founded a multicultural organization with one of my best friends from Brooklyn, and it was called the Multicultural Student Solidarity Network. And a part of that, we tried to get the university to build.
I'm gonna have to get you to scoot all the way up. Instagram gonna get you. You ain't in the
I don't want to be in trouble with the gram. But we tried to get the university to build a multicultural house. Mm-hmm. So if you go to some campuses across the country, they had entire centers dedicated to students of color. Right. And we did it, right? And we wanted that to happen. Yeah. And so like I was kind of led a charge to get that to happen, and was talking to the administration, campus groups, all of that.
Did y'all watch Higher Learning?
Yeah.
You should have. It was part of that movie about that. Yeah. So yeah, I can understand that. That's crazy. So what happened with that?
So it was a whirlwind. Like we caught some pretty good press for it, honestly. Okay. And in the end, they didn't give us a house, but they gave us a renovated space that was dedicated to students of color, which is like okay, you know, it was like a in their mind.
Step forward.
Yeah, it's a step forward. Yeah. You know, we wanted like the whole shebang. You know,
but you planted a seed, you know, and I'm sure you're aware of this, but you know, now I'm speaking to you like an old head. Right? Like, I'm 44. I'm twice your age. You're 22. But look at it if you haven't. Look at it from the lens of, you know, we started something. Somebody gonna come behind us, and they might build a whole community center. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you know, you definitely did what was needed. You know,
I appreciate that,
and you stood for what you wanted. So that's definitely an accomplishment.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know, the folks I was able to work on it with just an incredible crew. And yeah, it was a good time.
That's good. That's good, man. That's good.
I went abroad while I was in school.
You did what?
I went abroad.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Where'd you go?
London.
Yeah,
spent some time in Europe.
Okay.
It was dope.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Man, listen, the first time I traveled abroad, I was in the 9th grade.
Oh, really?
For spring break. I'll never forget it. And we went to London, went to Paris, Barcelona, Spain. The only place we didn't go was Venice, you know, or Venus, or however, you know, I don't want to mispronounce it, you know, there's different pronunciations for it. But that was a good time back then, you know. Yeah. What was it like for you this time?
I often say, you know, it's a little dramatic, but like it was pretty much the best consecutive 3 months of my life.
Wow.
Like when I went abroad, I went over there alone.
Okay.
And just wanted to explore, right? Kind of what I'm doing in Houston.
Right.
And I was fortunate enough to meet a lot of different people. Like there's a lot of people from Nigeria, Ghana, Morocco, the Middle East, in London, because it's such a melting pot. Right. And so it was kind of weird being like everyone just identifies you as an American. Right. And I'm like, oh, I'm from Philly. Like, right. I didn't want to. Yeah, it's a difference. Like we are the same. Yeah. But it was fun getting to meet a lot of different people. I also went to different cities like Paris, Barcelona, Budapest. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
What do you think was your biggest takeaway? Is how I'll say that. What was your biggest takeaway from traveling abroad?
Man, the world is a big place.
I was about to say that, man. Helps you realize it's bigger than your backyard, right?
Yeah. When I was growing up, and you know, you live within these like 4 to 5 blocks, and you like, I remember telling my friend, I'm like, yo, I don't need a car or a license because I'm gonna just take the train and the bus everywhere. Right. Because you know, like, where are you going? Right. You know, nobody goes anywhere. And going abroad, just seeing all types of different people, seeing all types of different places, just thinking it's possible. You know, you're like, why would I confine myself to, you know, these blocks that do mean a lot, but it's just, you know, it's a lot to explore. Yeah. And so the only thing it did for me is just encourage me to do it more.
Yeah. And what I'm leading to with that is, I'm sure, I'm not sure where you were at in your mind at that time in regards to your business and what you were learning, but it adds levels to what you need to incorporate when it comes to business. If you're trying to be local, if you're trying to be international, if you're trying to be global, it helps you understand that there's certain things and certain ways people think, and the needs are always different.
Always different. And a lot of it is, if you can understand cultures, right? Because people react to the same thing different ways.
Yeah.
Right. And you can even see it. You can like a major feature of culture is language.
Right.
Right. And if you speak in a certain way, when I go back to Philly, they understand.
Yeah.
You go to London, not so much.
Yeah.
They're like, who are you? I'm saying the same thing. The meaning is the same, but it's interpreted different ways.
Absolutely.
And so if you can kind of get a cultural understanding of, how business interacts with different people, how your writing may interact with different people, how your media may interact with different people, then you can kind of shape shift.
Yeah.
And that's it's a hard skill to gain, but it's a skill worth gaining.
Absolutely. So what I'd like to do at this point, before we move to the next thing, is, you're the co-founder, and I thought it was two of y'all, so now I know it's three of y'all. Big shouts out to your partners, Dylan and who else?
Miles,
man. Shouts out to you young brothers, man, for doing your thing, and I hope you reach whatever level that you guys are trying to reach and go well beyond that. But for people who might watch this later, because we're live now, but I told you, all the places it streams to, what is it that Relay needs, and what are y'all looking for?
So right now, like I mentioned, we're in the funding round. We're trying to raise $2 million to get us to and through launch. That'll fill the rest of our development platform. That'll enable us to hire an onboarding team, enable us to shore up some official things that we need to get shored up, and then just stay focused. So that's the hunt we're on right now.
Gotcha. So investors and people, and I always, because we talk about it on my show this evening, show sponsors and stuff like that, and even for this show, it doesn't even have to be a big corporation. It doesn't have to be a small business, a big business. It could be just an individual who's like, man, they might have $10 million in their back pocket,
You never know.
And it's ready to invest in something that's worthwhile. And so, I like to just extend my platform to the point of saying, there's anybody out there that's interested in what they're doing, and describe the company and talk about what you're trying to provide one more time before we move to that next level.
So Relay is a hyper-local delivery service. And the key innovation here to keep in mind that I didn't mention before is that it's a relay race style process. And so you think of the store that we mentioned earlier. We have these things called exchange zones, which are 15 compartment parcel lockers.
Okay.
So think you want a mailroom, but think half the mailroom, right? And we're trying to place them on city streets to facilitate the flow of delivery, right? So it will work like if we're here and you want a product from that store, then what we call a springer, right, is a delivery person, will get it from the store and then deliver it to that exchange zone. And then either you on your way home to your next event to get some food can pick up that product at the exchange zone on the city street.
Okay.
Right. Or you can have somebody else deliver it to you wherever you are at.
Gotcha.
Right. And that unlocks a few things. Right. We're trying to primarily facilitate this process through bike and scooter. And so that almost eliminates the need for a car or a truck to deliver most consumer products.
Gotcha.
Right. So this is everything now food. And even on a higher scale, you think across the country, carbon emissions are just a problem, right? And that's mostly that comes from the density of cities and the delivery of e-commerce,
right?
All the trucks, the UPS trucks, the Amazon vans, the FedEx trucks, the cars, you see, are polluting, right? And it's beginning to take a toll. So we're trying to flip that on its head to say, you can actually move throughout whatever city you want through a bike and scooter if you do it in concise distances.
Right.
And so that's part of the innovation that we're trying to do. And then the other part is to elevate and propel local businesses. We really see opportunity where a lot of folks are just, if this existed during the pandemic, right? You can think of April of 2020.
Yeah.
If you could say, I'm gonna shut my doors, but I'm gonna still move all the products that I need. that's a fundamentally different story. You might not have, 12 to 15% of small businesses across the country close within the year.
Yeah.
Right. You might not have the job loss that comes with that. Right. And all of the other consequences that come with that.
Right.
What does that do to a local economy? And so it's ambitious, but that's what we're trying to do.
Gotcha. That's amazing too. And then, I mean, you touched on it, but more on a broader scale. But another opportunity y'all are providing for people is with the bike and scooter thing, employment.
Exactly.
These young people, or even old people, just employment in general. You're giving people the opportunity to have another hustle. Make some side money and jump into it from that perspective. Yeah. That's something that jumped out at me, man. So look to y'all, man.
I appreciate it.
Everything goes well with that.
I appreciate it.
And you also touched on how y'all different because I'm, first thing I'm thinking, oh, it's like shipped or something else, it's totally different.
Yeah, it's a different flow, and you're trying to bring a physical component to it. To say these exchange zones are placed no farther than 3 to 5 miles apart, right? And 3 miles is a 30-minute walk, 10 to 12 minute scooter ride, 20-minute bike ride.
Gotcha.
So whatever you're doing,
and not the health and wellness of it too,
Yeah, you're not walking your dog. Everybody taps online.
Yeah.
And the thesis is that the easiest way the best, most optimal place to get your things is at your doorstep.
Right.
You see any commercial, you're like, well, wait a second, like if this existed in during the pandemic, right? Go out. Everybody, you want to leave your doorstep, right? So, and everybody taps online. So, what does it look like to give you a real destination?
Right.
A useful destination. You are walking your dog or whatever. Go walk to get a package.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So moving into what you came to share with us, right? But before we jump to that, let's talk about you being a personal finance writer on Medium. And what does that look like? What do you do? What are your goals? Because I've never even gotten on Medium, so I don't even know that. Medium, right? Medium. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Medium. I've never gotten on Medium. So talk about that platform and and then how to find you on there and what you do.
Yeah. So Medium is
I'm put up your social media too.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Medium is a platform for writers and creators to share ideas. It's like a free-flowing platform. You can read whatever you want. There are people on there writing on all types of stuff.
Gotcha.
Right? About money, about spirituality, about business, technology, culture, literally whatever you can think about, somebody has written about it. And the thing I like about it is it's open to anybody.
Wow.
Right? So you can get on there and share your piece.
Yeah.
If you get some folks to follow you, then you can kind of turn it into a little hustle. And so I was a Medium reader for a few months before becoming a writer because I just disliked the content.
Yeah.
And so what I noticed, at least on Medium and across online, is that I'm studying and reading about money and personal finance. It's just something that's always curious, made me curious. And so I was reading, but it felt like it wasn't quote unquote diverse. You know what I mean? It wasn't a lot of Black voices, even a smaller amount of young voices. And so I just decided to start writing. And I write so I write about personal finance on Medium. I have a page, and the way to find me is you can just literally Google TJ TANN Medium or Medium TJ TANN. My profile will come right up. And so I kind of just saw a little niche to write to.
Gotcha.
And decided to pump out articles.
That's what's up, man. And so, are you on there daily, weekly, monthly? As far as new content?
Weekly.
Okay.
Weekly. Sunday evenings I usually post.
Gotcha.
What I've been working on for the week.
Okay. So Monday morning we can get up and read what you have to say for that week.
Exactly.
It'll be there. That's what's up. And so that just flows us right into you were saying like money basics, and then and why that's important, of course, and talking about personal finance. So let's talk about the money basics, and get to the point of what you want to share.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on when we say money basics? What are some basics?
The basics to me really has nothing to do with coins and dollars. Ironically enough, it starts with kind of just what you want, right? Personal finance is personal.
Yeah.
Right. I can't tell you to do something with your money that doesn't make sense to me, but not to you, right? A lot of people do things that to other people seem insane, but to them it's completely sensible.
Right.
Right. So the first thing in my mind is to just recognize what you want.
Right.
Right. And if that's to build wealth, then there's certain steps you can do that. Right. If it's to get a large car, big house, what have you, cool. That's what you want. Figure out how to get there.
Right.
But you can't get anywhere without figuring out first where you want to go.
Right.
And so one of my articles that I posted on Medium is just know what you value.
Right.
And so that's the beginning. And then the next step, I guess, as part of the basic is take stock of where you're at. Right. If you're about to lose weight,
accountability.
Exactly. You're about to lose weight and you like something ridiculous like 415 pounds, then you got to know your baseline. Right. You got to know where you improve from. And it's often said, but wealth is literally just assets minus liabilities equals your net worth. Right. And if you take some time to just do the math, right, your own math, and you're like, okay, I'm worth technically, like numerically, this much, right? And from whatever that number reads, where do you want to go, right? I know where I'm at. I know where I want to go. The next question is, okay, how do I get there? And through building replicable habits that you do over and over again.
Okay. So if I'm looking to, we'll say, buy a house, what are some, when you say, talk about habits, that's an important thing, and the house that's just an example, because I think it feel like it applies to a bunch of different things. What are some habits that you suggest people develop when it comes to their money, spending it, saving it? What are some habits that you would tell them?
So I tell them the first thing is to track what you spend. I think that's underrated. Your bank statements and your credit card statements will tell you what you care about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If I say I care about the Animal Foundation, but I gave $3 over the course of the year, do I really care about it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if I say I care about eating healthy, how does that stack up against me spending $300 at McDonald's every month, right? Or eating out, right? You can say what you care about, but the data will tell you what to
make it plain,
right?
Yeah.
And so the first thing that I always encourage folks is to track what you spend.
Gotcha.
Right. And you can even look retroactively to say, okay, over the past 3 months, because everybody should have online paper statements.
Right.
It's in your email somewhere.
Right. People should still have, I don't know, well, you're kind of young again, right? But when you get a checkbook, they used to have that ledger. You can write everything down. You can be like, I
never read it. I never read it in checkbook. I'm not gonna lie to you.
They used to have a ledger every time you write a check. Or if you spend some money, you can write down, like you can really track what you spend, and I think a big part of it too, in my opinion, is even with goals, is like writing it down, making it plain, because the more you see it, the more you visualize it, the more you think about it. But it's the same thing with the paperless invoices or paperless accounts, or even if you have to print them out, you can go and highlight, you know what I mean? Like every time you see McDonald's, you can highlight it, and when you're done, you can look and see like how many highlights do I have on McDonald's. And a lot of people undermine the relevancy and the importance of something like that, man.
Yeah, it's super simple.
Huge. Yeah.
It's super simple. It just takes the decision to be like, I'm just gonna do it.
Right.
Like it's literally out there somewhere.
Right.
And if you care about managing your money well, then you can do it.
Yeah.
And so tracking spending is definitely one of the habits that I always encourage. I guess another would be, because you look at that, that's a little bit retroactive. It's what you've done. It's what you've done.
Right.
Right. It's not going to tell you what you're going to do. And so, and being proactive in that next.
Tell you what you're prone to do.
Exactly. What you're prone to do. Right.
Tell you what you're prone to do.
Right.
Yeah.
If you look at it, I guess everyone's budget budgeting is widespread. It's talked about a lot. But you just at that point figure out an equation that works for you, right? You gotta have a plan for your money, or otherwise you just kind of just living just to spend.
Yeah.
You know. So if you sit down and say, okay, if I want that house, or if I want this item, or if I want this trip, what is it gonna take for me to get there, right? And then sitting down and just looking at what you make,
right?
You can kind of plan out, okay, well, I can put 20% of this to that, right?
Right.
And then holding yourself accountable, or getting a few people to hold yourself accountable to do so. And so in those just two habits of checking, spending, looking retroactively of what you've done, and then trying to be proactive in the sense of what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And then building a habit is just taking a portion of your paycheck to try and achieve those things. That's, I think, two super basic things that don't require anything but time.
Yeah, and a decision, because you said it. And man, this is, when I met you and when we were talking, the energy was great, and it didn't hit me until later. And I was like, and absolutely not being judgmental, but it's the thoughts that come in your head. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna talk to you about money and finance and this and that. I'm like, wait, let's say you were 22. What you gonna tell me about money and finance? Like, but there's a few things about that, right? Our younger generation needs to think like you're thinking, right? Some of them don't have the knowledge to even, or the capacity to even think about these things. You know what I mean? So now I have to ask the question, man, are you practicing this, TJ? Are you practicing this? Be honest, man.
No, I'll be honest with you. I try.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. I really try. Like, I really try to, like, sit
you
down.
Believe in it. That's the main
I really do,
yeah.
right? And I really do. I really do try to sit down and spend time with, okay, this is how I'm allocating my money. This is how I am. This is what I want to do, right? And these are the habits to practice. And the other thing is that the important part is to just try, right?
Right.
I can't tell you that I've been perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? But it's a knowledge and a drive to be like, okay, like, this is where I want to go.
Right.
And to practice it. And part of the things that I read online, right, is a lot of people write retroactively to say, I've been to the mountaintop. This is how I got there.
Yeah.
Right. I'm with y'all. Like, I ain't rich. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm far from it. I'm not even what I would consider wealthy in a sense. But I'm like you mentioned, a lot of people my age or younger don't have the capacity.
And again, if you just tuned in, this young man is 22 years old. And we'll take this moment to holler at your boy, Omar.
Yo, what up? Yo, that's really my bro.
He said that's the GOAT. That's the GOAT, man. And he said talk to him because, I'm sitting here, I'm taking it all in, and I'm like, man, like, you have a bright future in front of you.
I appreciate that.
And even in your short years lived, they're long years to you, right? But you've accomplished a lot too. And salute for even going to the step of graduating college. You travel abroad. The word I wanted to use, like, man, you're a risk taker, but it's not even about risk. It's just you step out there, and you're not afraid to experience new things, learn new things. And there's a lesson just in that, even with personal finance and money basics, there's lessons in all of that. So it's all under the same umbrella as it relates to you. It's how I view it.
Yeah.
So big shout out to Omar, man.
That's our guy. He's one of my homies from college.
Okay.
And we're from the same state. And he's one of my best friends.
Then tell him to hit that like and subscribe button. He on YouTube.
Yeah. Subscribe for me, yo.
Absolutely. Appreciate you watching in and tuning into the Reach Podcast show, man. So we're glad you're part of the show. And he definitely spitting and talking to him. So is there, I know you mentioned those two, is there any other basic that you would like to mention that may be overlooked or in the shadows? Because those are two great things. Absolutely.
It's that, like, and the other thing is, nothing I'm saying is new.
Absolutely.
Right.
No No need to reinvent the wheel.
And what's new is the audience community that I'm trying to target, right? Because these are lessons that folks will learn, late in life. Like, I should have did this in the third. And that's cool, but like this is new, and I see this a new wave that like, oh, we can do it, all right? We just got to know what to do. And I guess the third thing that is really just a super basic thing is just don't pay your credit card bill every month, like, and learn and know what the function of credit is.
Yeah,
because I think it was something like. I'm trying to think of the percentage, but it was in like the 50s, and like how many people are just in straight credit card debt.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah. It has to be higher than 50%, I would imagine.
I'm trying to be generous.
Yeah.
And sometimes the other part is knowing the compassionate side of like sometimes people do need to use that.
Yes.
Right. And I know plenty of people who just need a lifeline.
Right.
But
that's what I was gonna say. Just to get off onto that a little bit, in the defense of those people and credit card users. It's just that it's a lifeline because you don't have to have it all right now. I can go back and kind of pay it off, but like you say, make sure you pay it because that's how it becomes a trap.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also like this segmented, right? I won't. This is the other thing that I've noticed online that I don't think people are quite upfront about is, a lot of people that write about personal finance have high incomes. You have something to finance, right? Coming from a lower spectrum of that, it's like, okay, like all of these habits is cool, but I'm working to live, living to work.
Yeah.
How does that work then?
Right.
Limits. Habits do have limits in terms of trying to change your material circumstance. And so being honest to be like, if you need to use it, right? But understand what you're using it for and why you are, right? And that works across the spectrum.
Yeah. Man, those are amazing. So let's recap that. There was 3, as you just said. What are those 3 basics that we just talked about?
3 basics is track your spending. Other basic is build a budget for what you want. Have a plan for your money, in other words. And then the third is pay off your credit card debt as soon as you can, whenever you can.
Yeah.
Typically, a good habit is just to look at the end of the month, pay it at the end of the month. Start the next month clean.
Yeah, and again, you just made a comment at the end, and I'm like, it's something that's recognizable, but maybe far-fetched to a lot of people. These are really just basic habits that people need to practice, and you're not reinventing the wheel, and a lot of people don't even, recognize that, I guess I would say, because you would think they realize it, but maybe they don't really recognize it, and it just gets out of hand. But you spoke a little bit about on personal finance, and you speak on that as well. What are your jewels you want to drop when it comes to just personal finance, or just anything,
Yeah, I appreciate that, and a lot of this comes from just reading a lot of things. I think about what is building wealth mean, right? Especially in the Black community, like the fact of the matter is that we just been set so many years behind.
Yeah.
It's just like from a pure logical standpoint, it wouldn't make sense for a lot of people to achieve wealth given the barriers that we face. And so recognizing that, to be honest, because you can get too deep into like personal habits, the self-development. That stuff really you should do, right? Because it works. But also having the awareness of playing or recognizing what system you're playing in, right? And so I think those 2 things go hand in hand of understanding a little bit of historical knowledge of why you ended up where you ended up, and then also taking these habits to try and perform and practice. And then I guess one of the things I wrote about on Medium was called Money Games.
Man, you read my mind. I was getting ready to tell him about something you wrote.
Yeah. And so it's called Money Games. And in it, I kind of outlined 3 games that most of us are all playing in one form or the other, right? The first is survival, and that's working just to work again, right? If you are listening or if you're watching and you're unfamiliar with the concept of poverty, that's what it's like. right? To just wake up and work, to wake up and work, to wake up and work, right? It's a harmful cycle that unfortunately a disproportionate amount of Black people are in, right, in America. If not that, it's generally low income. Right? And that's one game, right? And then another game is material acquisition. Some of us are like, all right, cool, got a job. Let me go get whatever I want to get, right? Let me go spend how I want to spend, live how I want to live. You know, these most often kind of like a YOLO folks, you know, like
you only live once.
Yeah, you only live once. You can only spend one, so might as well, right? And that's cool. There's a time and place for that, right?
22, because not at 44.
Yeah. I mean, so you might know.
That's why I asked, are you practicing? And just because the knowledge that you're spitting, man, I'm really just taken back by it in a good way. You know, just to hear a young Black, brown brother speaking about this and being brave enough to get in front of an audience and talk about it, man, that's huge. You know?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. I was just messing.
No, you know, it's a balance, right? I try to. I'm not go places for no reason. I mean, that's a good time.
Right.
There's a time and place for that.
Yeah.
And then the last one the last game, like wealth building, right? The wealth game, like that. And define wealth as someone is wealthy when they can wake up and do what they want without consequence.
Yeah.
Right. The wealthiest people are the ones who can choose the direction of their activity.
Right.
On a daily basis.
Right.
Socially and culturally, it's most often the folks that have the most money. Right. And that leads people to chase that. Right. But you're like, no, it's how you spend your time, right? Because you can run $1 billion company and feel trapped. Right. You can work on Wall Street and jump off a building, as many of them do. So you got to be careful about what is the direction that you want to choose and what do you want to do. And in that sense, how to win that game, right, is like I mentioned, practicing and building some of these habits, and then just kind of being aware of what you want and what you value. Because like I have a teacher who's a mentor.
Okay.
And she taught me when I was in high school, and she led me to the University of Richmond. And she's like been, instrumental in my life. And
say her name, man.
Mrs. Motley. Mrs. Motley. Say her name. Okay, cool. Because
always give and pay homage to the people that have been instrumental in your life.
Exactly.
Say their name.
Hey, Mrs. Motley, I appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you a chance to do everybody else.
Yeah.
Definitely want to shout her out right now. And thank you, Ms. Motley. You planted a seed that is going to grow well beyond your understanding, and his as well. But
and she's a teacher, but like love what she did every day.
Right.
And I wake up and just was like, I don't care what else is going on, or I'm gonna go teach my kids and then help my kids grow and achieve. And that's a certain form of wealth.
Absolutely.
And so if you can pin down what you want to do and then try and go do it and do it daily.
Right.
That's
and that also plays into the word success. You're successful. You determine what success is to you. A lot of people categorize that as, if you don't have a whole lot of money, you ain't successful. Since we're talking about money, but that's just absolutely not true.
It is not true. It's pretty ironic that I like talk about money a lot, but I disregard it as a metric of success.
Yeah.
Because our lives have been oriented around it. Like people wake up every day, not directly with money on their mind, but that's how your time is organized.
To the bag.
Yeah, that's how your time is organized. So if your time is organized around a concept that you know little about, then that's an inefficient use of time. Right. And so, part of it is success is defined personally. Yeah. Right. Yeah. What's successful to you might not be successful to me, and vice versa. Right. It's really a feeling. Right. It isn't a thing. Right. Because
it's an ongoing process.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
That never ends.
Yeah. It's not a pinnacle. It's not a pinnacle either. And if you can find success in a pursuit, then that's I think there's something to be said for that.
That's what's up, man. So, without me asking a question, just free fall is what they call it. Like, what else would you want to share with our people? Something that's on your mind and your heart that you feel like, you know, you wouldn't want to get off the show without talking about?
That's a really good question. I'd say, you know, I come from a place where it's kind of like a each one teach one model.
Okay.
You know, everybody, if somebody achieves, you better bring somebody else with you.
Right.
Just Black folks in the communal. And so, you know, if you listen or if you listen at some point or if you read at some point, then I just encourage you to share with somebody else to multiply the impact, right? Because that's what's up. I just generally write because I'm just interested in it. It's something I do.
When you place it somewhere, somebody can grab it.
Yeah, and it's also, and I forgot to mention it specifically for my siblings and my family, right? Because
shout them out.
Mom and dad, for real. Mom Dukes, Pop, what's up?
He said Mom Dukes, yeah.
Mom Dukes, you know, my older brother Isaiah, my little brother Caleb, my little sister Rachel, and then like my entire family.
Okay. Mom Dukes, you got an amazing young man here. And Pop's doing something good too.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And but I wrote so that like they know what's up. Like they all you know, when you get to a certain level,
them to benefit from it.
Yeah. And understand like, okay, if I'm out here, what's the first move?
Yeah.
You know, because like Black folks tend to treat money as a taboo. Right? Because it's like you got too much. You something different, but you ain't got enough, then you don't want to talk about it.
Right.
And it's like it's cool, like it's okay, you know. And that's why I always want my little cousins, little brothers, sisters to, you know, call me if you need anything. But also, there's a whole platform for you to read.
Right. And it just extends to literacy, helping them read, find out on your own, do the research. But then, hey, my brother wrote it, so I'm definitely gonna read it. Like, you know, it's so many ways to look at it, but you're giving them something that's definitely gonna help them. You know? So, yeah, absolutely, man. So what is your, I don't want to say ultimate goal, right? But what are some high level goals that TJ has for stuff as it relates to personal, business, relay? What are some goals? What should people expect from you in a few years?
I want Relay to blow up, honestly. But no, I think Relay will go far. And I'm hoping that we get to a point where we are just in a mode of expanding and trying to touch as many cities and locales as possible. That's a big goal of mine. The other is to even follow my own advice.
That's the next question, TJ. It's coming. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you know, I guess another goal is to find and be wealthy with my time. It takes a minute. It'll take a minute. But that's a goal.
But you're speaking it. You know, we were talking about manifestation this morning, so
yeah,
you know, that's the first step.
Yeah, I'm unsure, unclear what exactly that looks like, but it'll probably be in the realm of something like this.
Yeah.
Of you know, trying to speak with folks and share with folks.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, most immediately, I got 75 followers on Medium. I'm trying to get to 100. That's a goal of mine.
Man, did I have that on here? Either one of these? Because it's been scrolling for a minute. Let's build up TJ's, and this is for the viewers because we don't have many people watching right now. No, that wasn't part of what you sent me, I don't think. But here it is. I'm tripping. Yeah, this is the website right here. I did put that on here. So go ahead and tell people what you need them to do. The website for flowing.
So
and this is a real thing on the Reach Podcast show. You have commercials. So this is now your commercial.
Cool. So if you see it rolling, the first one, medium.com/TJ10, go to that website, or you can just Google Medium TJ10, and then it'll bring you to my page, and click the follow button. I would really appreciate it, and then look and just read, and I'll keep it updated.
And they can go there every what for new info?
Every Sunday evening.
Sunday evening. I'll say Monday just to give you time, but it'll definitely be there Monday, but Sunday evening is a good way to get your mind and collect yourself and get ready for the week.
Yeah, exactly.
But if not, it'll definitely be there Monday morning. Because I know our time gets sometimes, but we ain't gonna speak that to existence. You said Sunday evening, that's when it's gonna be there. So that's a huge thing. So what made you connect with Medium? Like, what made you decide I don't know if you said this already, but I just want to revisit that or so.
Yeah, I was, a friend sent me a link one day to an article on Medium. And so I just started reading it.
Okay.
And I started out just reading a lot of random articles from random people, but it was all about personal finance.
Right.
And I would literally for 4 or 5 months, I would read 3, 4 articles a day. And I'm like, yo, this is a dope platform. And then I was like, they make it a low barrier to entry if you want to write.
Right.
So you just start writing.
Right.
And I'm just like, might as well. I'll just see. If you read the first paragraph of my article, it's I don't even know where this is taking me. But I'm just doing it, I'm just doing it. And I didn't see too many Black writers on there. And definitely not any talking about money.
Right.
And so I was like, Medium probably need it.
So have you published any books, articles, pamphlets, or anything like that as of yet?
No. Okay. No. That's all coming.
Yeah.
Nothing too official.
Okay. So it's coming faster than you think it's gonna come. Because what I want to do right now is hopefully you're free on February 22nd of this year.
Okay.
Because a great friend of mine, shout out to Raven Rose, she's opening a Black-owned bookstore in Cape. It's called Brown Sugar Cafe and Books. You'll be one of my guests because it's an invite only or a sponsorship invite only. But I want to put you in the room with some amazing people, authors. The owner who had this visit, she's from Chicago, and you can catch her episode on my show by going to YouTube and looking up Raven Rose Brown Sugar Cafe and Books. And that's the launch day. She's working hard right now, boots on the ground, doing what she needs to do. I went by not too long ago. I'll show you some pictures when we get off air of the space. It's gonna be amazing.
It's in Houston.
It's in Cape. So I don't know many neighborhoods in Philly, but one neighborhood and then you go to the next one. They're still off considered Philly.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're on top of each other. And there's some areas that are close to Cape and they'll still call it Houston.
Okay.
But anyway, it's a suburb community of Houston. It's off of I-10 in Fry area. Okay. And so I would definitely like you to come there. She sees this, she's gonna be clapping her hand and happy to have you there because it'll be an environment where you can get with like-minded people. And if you decide, I'm not telling you what to do, but if you decide you want to develop some type of publication, whether it be a pamphlet or whether it be a book or a journal, or whatever the case may be, we can get you on the shelves, and that'd be another revenue since we're talking business. It'd be another avenue for revenue, and that'd be huge, and I think that you would mesh well with those folks.
Oh man, I appreciate that, man. I can't say thank you enough.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This is what we do, and you mentioned something earlier. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it reminded me of. This is why I call this show the Reach Podcast Show because the Each One Teach One. We're talking about that. Yeah. So we're teaching a few people today, or reminding them, or sharing, or planting seeds, or dropping nuggets, however you want to look at it. What's up, cuz? This is my cousin Charlie. What's going on, Charlie? I appreciate you tuning in. She's working hard at home, and she's checking in. This is amazing young man. You remind me of her son. Big shout out to my little cousin Trey. Yeah. He's a little big man now. This dude's like 6'5" or something. But to be so young and to speak in the manner on the things that you're speaking of, that's huge. I don't even know by you being 22 if you really, really, really understand how huge it is, but it's a huge thing, and I can look back just being transparent on my life and think about, man, if I would have listened to this, or if I would have done this, or even knew it, because I grew up with my mom and she taught me these things, but not in this fashion, like the old school, like, look, you do this, you do that, And not that there was anything wrong with that. It's just the reception of it, and how you take it, and I'm sure that's part of what you hope for your brothers and sisters, that, when their time comes around, going to read it on Medium might not be what they want to do. It's like, man, if you would have put it here, I would have got it. No, it's there. Like, stop making excuses. It was there. And that's how I would relate to some of the things my mom told me. I told you, so you should have got it. But it's huge, man, what you're doing, and keep doing it. That's the thing. But I was saying, you remind me of her son, man. Young, graduated college, now he's married and stuff, and just doing some amazing stuff, man. So big shouts out to what you're doing, but definitely keep in touch with me. We're going to definitely get you or give you directions or whatever, get the invite, introduce you to Raven, and if you come up with stuff that, is to a point where you can put it on the shelves, we'll see about getting that done. Because, I know one of her things is having it in different locations across the city. I'm sure that's one of her goals, unless she wants to be just like a mothership and just be that one location. I'm not sure. I can't speak on that. But definitely, I think a group of people in a circle that, you want to get connected to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm always open to meet with people. That's how these things come about. I just literally took a stroll.
Absolutely, man. And you were strolling. Just walking through.
I was cool. I was chilling.
You came back with Dex, and I'm like, okay, who's this dude? He's like, look, man, that. Like, he's a cool dude, man. So definitely wanted to keep my promise to you, and connect on a few different things. Also, next Saturday, if you're free in the morning from 10 to 12, we'll be just right downtown. We'll talk more about that. You can come and get an idea of that group of young people that we work with.
Okay.
And I think it's another person I want to. It's a bunch of people I want to get you connected. Man. So it's just all about networking, building these relationships, and just seeing what we can do beyond that. And then of course getting to the money.
Into the money.
It's all about that.
That's what it's all about.
So is there anything you want to end with, man? I respect the time, before we shut the show down. But again, thank you for, spitting the jewels that you spit today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to thank you so right back. Thank you for inviting me. Because you didn't have to. That's one of the great things about what you're doing, is that you just give people like me that have now have a elevated platform to kind of speak what we speak about. So this is like super dope. I love to see Black people doing.
Absolutely, man. And you are part of, like, you go check that video out I was telling you about, because you are now part of Black history. Like, you are doing your thing. Like, it ain't like Black history like everybody think of, but how many people graduate from Richmond, Virginia? How many people develop a company when they're there? It might be a lot, but how much are they talked about? Even the two people that you named as far as Black history, all of that is playing in my head. I'm like, man, you're modeling yourself behind them. Like, you're quiet, you're behind the scenes doing a lot, but you're quiet. What I mean? And it's a lot that goes along with that part of it too, like being quiet and not being so, upfront. So it's a good character, just a good characteristic to have. We'll talk about that later. What is there anything else that you want to say?
No, I just want to say, Mom, what's up? Dad, what's up?
Don't change up now,
Mom, dude. Mom, dude, what's up? Pop, what's up? I just want to say thank you for that.
Absolutely, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You're on definitely the right track. Got a good head on your shoulders. There's gonna be ups and downs, that's just part of life. But I appreciate you coming on this platform and spitting what you spitting. If there's anybody on Instagram you need to holler at, they might come back and check this out later. Holler at your people. And then, what was your teacher's name again?
Mrs. Motley.
Miss Motley, man. Big shouts out to her.
I got to shout out Coach Parks.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Coach Parks, that's just my guy. He was my basketball coach when I was a young boy.
Gotcha.
And shepherd me. If he ever sees this, I hope I would send it to him. But that's,
man, listen,
Coach Mac.
So for all your people that maybe have jumped in midway or right now at the end or jumped in and out or whatever, you can catch this show. It's already live. It's already posted. You can always go back to Facebook at the Reach Podcast Show, or you can go to YouTube, the YouTube channel, the Reach Podcast Show. So tell all your people what they got to do if they go to the YouTube.
Yeah, they got to follow me on Medium.
And also like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Absolutely.
I'm going to definitely put this out.
Yeah.
Some folks that think it's, I check you out.
Yeah,
this
man.
is dope.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
This not casual. You know what I mean? Like, you see people that do podcasts, you're like, folks be just walking around with a mic. But like, this is official.
It's official, man. It's definitely official. And like you say, it's cool. Cool. But no, man, the whole concept behind this show, I've actually had to change the tagline. It's we're telling the stories of the community, and then the people that are behind those stories, and that are driving those stories. That's what's most important. And you speak to a large generation of young folks, also African Americans, and the other thing that I realize is a lot of people that have the bag now are the young folks. Like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all are in tech and building companies around tech. We were having issues this morning. I'm like, look, man, I ain't a tech dude. But no, it's an amazing thing, man. And I just want to encourage you to definitely keep going. That's my thing and what I'm getting here right now. You have keep using your voice, in any shape, form, or fashion that you can, because that's something they can't take from us, and not your voice, like verbally speaking, but just your mind and what you have to say, because that can be communicated in so many ways, whether it's speaking, sign language, writing it down, whatever, they probably got something with the eyes, you talk like that, but they can't take your voice from you. So want to recap and say a big shout out to all the poets that have been part of the Reach Podcast Show. This is February. It's the 1 year anniversary of me getting involved into the poetry community by way of the Reach Podcast Show. So if you're a poet and you want to spit, or you just want to be heard, if you're new, you want to come back just as a tribute to the show, we are definitely looking for 3 poets every week, an opening slot, middle slot, and the end slot. All pieces based on Black history or to the culture or what we have going on, because it is Black History Month. We want to celebrate big this month. And for anybody who comes back and watches this, the return of Last Friday Poetry Night is happening this month. So on February 25th, we will definitely be having the Last Friday Poetry Night again. Big shout out to Honey Beyond Studio. I definitely want to put them up right quick. So if you're looking for a venue where you want to go and celebrate, you want to have a birthday party, a baby shower, whatever the case may be, you definitely want to go over to Honey Beyond Studios. And of course, you're going to let them know that the Reach Podcast Show sent you. So if you see this logo that's up on the screen right now, those are my people. This is where the poetry night will be. And I'll put their info at the bottom of the screen. You can go to the website and get connected with them for any type of event that you have coming up. You definitely want to go and holler at Honey Beyond Studio, and also follow them on social media at Honeybee Studio on Instagram. And so the address is up on the screen, the social media is up on the screen, and then we will put their website. You can go and book any event that you may have, and they're going to absolutely take care of you. And if you want to wait till the end of the month and you want to check out the show, just come and get connected with us as we kick it at Honey Beyond Studio, and it'll be the return of Last Friday Poetry Night. We are going to be there. We're going to have a good time, and we appreciate you guys. So big shouts out to Honey Beyond Studio. And because if y'all watching, I'm going to call y'all today. We're going to figure out what day this weekend we're going to talk. Yeah, and so lastly, before we go, as for those who know, mental health and wellness is huge and a big part of what we deal with from day to day. And just from the standpoint of dealing with COVID, having COVID. So we want to get you guys connected with the new podcast that I'm a part of. It's a 3-person show as far as the co-host. It's myself, Dr. P, and the David Manning. So catch us tonight on the Mind Matters Podcast Show. We're streaming live right back here on Facebook, Instagram, and also YouTube. So it's the Mind Matters Podcast Show. You don't want to miss it. It's February. It's Black History Month. It's Valentine's Day coming up. So we are talking about relationships and how that looks, and speaking from a bunch of different levels, but definitely from the standpoint of mental health and how you need to look at it from different views and different ways. So big shouts out to my co-host. And so definitely, again, tune in tonight. We'll be live at 6:30. And then also shouts out to our man for getting our logo together. And if you'll see, you have the little brain right there with all of these tree branches. The idea behind that is the brain controls a lot of things, right? Mental health is huge, and it just lets off all these different branches. So that is the Mind Matters podcast show with myself, LeVar Ellis, community activist and youth activist, Dr. P, 25 plus year licensed psychologist, and also our man, D. Dave Manning, 10-year plus licensed counselor. So get it from all different perspectives this evening. Join the conversation, and we stream every Thursday evening from 6:30. And we just had a conversation about this, and I'm gonna just say from 6:30 until. That's what I'm gonna say right now, because these conversations get interesting. We try not to go past 8, but just tune in and stick with us as long as you can. But this, my friends, has been the Reach Podcast Show with myself, founder and host LeVar Ellis. This is my man, Mr. TJ TANN, and TRACY TANN is the name. He's we'll put it up one more time, TJ. We want to go ahead and let everybody know how to follow.
Cool. Yeah, go up to follow me on Twitter, all that. And then if you Google TJ TANN Medium, as in small, medium, large, TJ TANN Medium, and follow me on there.
Yep. And he is the co-founder of RELAI, and also, as we just stated, personal finance writer on Medium. And then we'll put also the websites up there, how you can find them, and you can follow those. So, man, it's been a great show again, man. I didn't really know what to expect, but man, you did an awesome job. I appreciate you being a part of the show and being in the lineup of folks. That's what I wanted to ask you. Have you ever done a podcast before?
Mm-hmm. My company actually has a podcast.
Okay, great. Tell them how to find that.
You can go to wherever you listen to podcasts. It's called We Go Together.
Gotcha.
And it's a story chronicling us finding a company.
Absolutely.
So please check out that podcast, and I'll be on there soon.
Absolutely. Well, man, we appreciate you, and for everybody who's tuned in or will be tuned in, we appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. And again, it's the Reach Podcast Show with LeVar Ellis. We'll be back next week. Next week, our guest is coming definitely to talk to us about Black history. So you don't want to miss that show. If you're in tune with all of that, you definitely want to be part of that show. And you can also be a special guest. We'll be in Freedmanstown. I'll be posting some stuff up this coming week to give out the information. So if you want to tune in about our Black history episode, that will be next week. But each and every show definitely showcases Black history, just like today. This young man's only 22 years old, doing it big for the culture and for his people. So appreciate you guys. Tune in same time next week and same way, and we'll holler at you. Absolutely. Instagram, man.